Yo, what's up guys, your boy Nitrostorm here, welcome back to Wuthering Wave. So, as you can see from the title, we're talking about Brant, and we're going to keep this short. I'm going to talk about three things. First being the gameplay, second being about the energy regen requirements for the new set, and the third being about Brant's weapon. Now, first things first, Brant's gameplay. So you've probably tried him out, and unfortunately we couldn't check him out with Chang Li, like testing him out with Chang Li, but at first impressions, Brant's rotation might seem to be pretty straightforward. As in, you ult to get the better version of the passive, get the maximum max bravo, and then you do your forte circuit damage with return from ashes, get your outro ready, and then you switch to Chang Li. Now, because of the fact that it's straightforward, at first glance, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a chance for quick swapping with Brant. But that is at face value. Perhaps when Brant comes out, I might be able to do some actual testing. But for the time being, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be that much space for quick swapping, or at least there's not much need for quick swapping, meaning that Brant and Chang Li may not synergize as well as I'd hope. Now, next part is about the energy regen requirements. Now, first things first here, from what everyone's already calculated, obviously now, as I've mentioned in my previous video, it maxes out at 280% energy regen to get the 2.6k extra attack on this passive. Now, we're going to be moving on to the Excel document here that I've created, analyzing Brant's energy regen requirements. So, passive starts at 150, so we have minus 50% there, but we're not going to worry about that. We are worrying about the new energy regen set having an extra caveat of 250% energy regen on the 5-piece set, where if you have 250% or more, we can get an extra 30% bonus to attribute damage. Now, for this example, we have 3 max rolls and 2 mid rolls for echo rolls. We are using double 3 cost main stat for energy regen, so that's a plus 60. And then another plus 10 for the energy regen set, so plus 10. So this, and this, plus 100, plus the energy regen provided by the weapon, and we get these 3 values. And then this is the 4th value, but we'll come to that later. Now, this first value here is 251.2, so whatever this weapon is, we barely hit the mark, and they get the 30% damage bonus. In this case, this is for Emerald of Genesis R5. So this is going to be a pretty tough requirement to get that 30% damage bonus. And then on top of that, you want to get good crit stats as well, because you want to be dealing damage with Brant, and of course you'd want to crit on that forte circuit. Now, next number, as you can see, we are below the requirement, so we are not getting, so firstly, we're not getting the 30% attribute damage bonus, so that's going to be a lot of negative damage compared to the other weapons, because 30% attribute damage is not only rare, we're losing out on it. And unfortunately, this weapon is the Emerald of Genesis R1. So even with this much regen in terms of echo substats, we are still 12% away from capping out. And if you want to double check here, if we do 5 out of 5 energy regen, as you can see, we are still 5.2% away from having max, well, 5.2% away from having the 30% extra attribute damage. So unfortunately, if you have R1 Emerald of Genesis, you might as well give up trying to get the 250% requirement. If you have any more than R1, then eventually you'll be able to get the 250% with R5. And then last but not least, Overture, we are at 277.4, which is close to the 280% requirement to max out Brant's passive. And that's pretty much about it for the energy requirement. So as you can see, the main trend between these 3 numbers is that we need the 3 cost echoes to both be energy regen, because if any of these 3 cost echoes are fusion damage bonus, you can say goodbye to the 30% attribute damage. Now, technically you can say we're getting 30% fusion damage, so losing out on this is not a big deal. But keep in mind, we are also losing out a lot of attack, right? 30% regen worth of attack, mind you, by doing that. And that's where we get to part 3, the signature weapon. So I actually don't know if this is official yet, so from the data that I've taken this from, take it with a grain of salt. So Brant's signature weapon gives you 77% energy regen. Don't mind the 54.4 here, this is for just like calculations. But in any case, Brant's signature weapon gives you 77% energy regen at level 90, plus the passive of the weapon giving you 8% crit at R1, and a total of 48% basic damage bonus, assuming you meet all the passive requirements. Now, we can ignore these two for now, but this can show the benefit of having the signature weapon because it makes your building easier as well. Now, the main reason why I'm making this third section of this video is that with this current build, with this current theoretical build, with these echo rolls, we are 22.6% over the 280% energy regen requirement on Brant. So in game, Brant will currently have 302.6% energy regen with the signature weapon and double 3 cost energy regen. Now, the main emphasis of this part is the fact that Brant's signature weapon is currently going to be the only weapon for Brant in the entire game that will allow Brant to go 1 3 cost being energy regen and the second 3 cost being fusion damage bonus. So not only will Brant get 30% attribute damage bonus from having over 250% energy regen, Brant will also be able to get 30% more fusion damage from having 1 3 cost energy regen. So it'll feel like Brant is going fusion thanks to the new set, and we're not losing out on any buffs at all, because if you look here, since we are 22.6% over, if we go fusion damage and regen, we're only going to be 7.4% away from maxing out Brant's passive. And to be honest, being 7.4% away is a good enough cost for 30% fusion damage. And so now that we've got the numbers down, what this would mean is that although in outside of ult, Emerald of Genesis R5 and signature weapon seem to be very close in terms of the attack that we're having in total, or that in this case with the ult, Emerald of Genesis R5 will be 7% away in terms of attack buff only. When it comes to actual gameplay, right? When it comes to actual gameplay, assuming we're not overcapped with Brant's signature weapon and we're going fusion damage, energy regen, the actual difference between the weapon, between Brant's signature and the other weapons is going to be much larger than what is currently being shown. And that's where I'm going to lead on to the final part of the third section, is one of the comments that I saw in my Brant analysis video, is that they said that Kuro Games is slowly becoming predatory with the weapons. Because in this case, as you can see, there's a clear gap between Brant's signature weapon and other alternatives. Now, technically speaking, I'm not sure how much difference it is, but in my opinion, being able to go and change the echoes that you need might have a larger impact than what we could expect, because essentially Brant's signature weapon has 30% fusion damage over all the other options, and in practice this may have a larger gap. Now, I'm not sure what the damage difference will be, but that significance alone might be a step forward in potentially the wrong direction. Now, the one thing that I will say in defense is that the weapons are 100% guaranteed. Assuming you have the pulls saved up, you can get Brant's weapon guaranteed because there are no 50-50s in the weapons. So technically as a defense, we can say that weapons being considerably more appealing to get is not really a bad thing because the weapons are guaranteed. But at the same time, it does mean that the price for each character may increase over time because weapons will be more and more powerful, meaning eventually when you're pulling characters, you also pull the weapon rather than pulling the characters only because you don't need the weapon, right? A very good example of that is Chang-Li. You don't actually need her signature weapon because Emerald of Genesis meshes well with her kit. And so you're not really losing that much damage compared to having Chang-Li's signature weapon. Now, that's all I'll say for the video. I hope this explains a lot. For those that skipped to this portion for the summary, to summarize, Brant's gameplay will still need to do some more testing with that, but first impressions does show that there doesn't seem to be much quick swap needed, right? There doesn't seem to be much quick swap needed in Brant's kit. I feel like his kit is very straightforward, which is pretty unfortunate for Chang-Li mains such as myself, because there's a chance that they may not synergize as well as I'd hope. Now, part 2, in terms of the energy requirements, as you can see here, first things first, we need double regen main stat for 3 costs, and we need to have both energy regen main stats to get the 250% requirement. And if you don't have good echo rolls, then there's a chance that only Overture will be the weapon for you that will meet this requirement. Again, making it difficult to build their crit stats because Overture doesn't give any. And then if you have Emerald of Genesis R5, if you've got the rolls, then you can hit the 250%. But again, that is very hard to build. So there's some agreement there in terms of building Brant because it's going to be pretty difficult. And then the last bit is Brant's signature weapon allows you, right, assuming you have the good rolls, it will allow you to go energy regen and fusion damage for 3 costs instead of going double energy regen because you'll overcap with double energy regen. You actually basically have to go energy regen and fusion damage. And what that entails is that Brant's signature weapon will have 30% fusion damage over the rest of the weapon alternatives, making the in-game, in-practice damage differences between the other weapons more significant than what is being shown here from just analyzing the attack buff. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Hopefully I've explained it as well as I can and addressed all of the different Brant allegations. Now, in terms of whether you agree or not, I'm just providing information here. If you have any questions in regards to Brant, do let me know down in the comments below. I'll be sure to respond. Hopefully Brant will do well, right? I'm going to be using Brant with fusion set, by the way. That's what I'm going to be saying. I'm going to be using Brant with fusion set, and I think I'll do fine. It shouldn't be a big deal. I guess you can come back to me once Brant comes out just to compare damage between having the energy regen set or having fusion set. But yeah, this has been your boy Nitrostorm. Hopefully this video was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Peace.